What if I told you that the reason you can't lose that stubborn belly fat has absolutely nothing to do with how much you exercise or how strict your diet is? It sounds crazy, I know, but the truth that nobody in the fitness industry wants you to know is this: visceral fat, that deep, dangerous fat around your organs, doesn't respond to willpower. It responds to very specific biological signals your body receives in the first hour after waking up. In this video, I'm going to reveal exactly why two people can follow the exact same weight loss plan, yet one seems to melt fat away effortlessly while the other stays completely stuck. I'll be breaking down the 5 critical morning signals that flip your metabolism from fat storage mode into high gear, fat burning mode. This can help you lose weight fast, without punishing workouts or extreme joyless diets. So, if you've been doing everything right but still can't get rid of that abdominal fat, stick around, because the problem isn't you, it's your morning routine. For years, the fitness industry has sold us a lie that has kept millions of people trapped in a frustrating cycle of exhaustion and stubborn weight that just refuses to budge. We've even told over and over that losing weight is a simple math problem: calories in versus calories out. Just exercise harder, eat less, and eventually your body will have no choice but to burn fat and reveal that lean physique hiding underneath. But this ridiculously oversimplified model completely ignores the complex hormonal and neurological systems that actually control whether your body releases stored fat or guards it like a precious survival resource. The real truth is far more nuanced and, frankly, way more interesting than the tired advice you've heard 1,000 times before. Think about it this way: your body isn't a simple machine. It's an incredibly intelligent biological system, designed over millions of years of evolution to keep you alive in environments where food was scarce and danger was a constant threat. From the very moment you open your eyes each day, your nervous system is scanning for signals. It's asking, am I safe or am I under threat? This assessment happens automatically, way below your conscious awareness, and its conclusion determines everything. It decides whether your metabolism will open the floodgates to fat burning or slam them shut and shift into a defensive fat storage mode. Understanding this single principle is the key to finally achieving the slimming results you've been chasing for so long. When we talk about weight loss, almost everyone focuses on what they eat and how much they move. And don't get me wrong, those things absolutely matter. But they are downstream from something far, far more powerful: the hormonal environment created by your daily habits. And the most important habits are the ones that happen in that critical window right after you wake up. Your morning routine isn't just about getting ready for the day. It's actively programming your entire metabolism. It's setting your stress hormone levels, calibrating your insulin sensitivity, and essentially telling your body whether it should spend the next 12 to 16 hours burning fat or storing it. Now, here's the most frustrating part. Many people are unknowingly sabotaging their own efforts every single morning before they've even had breakfast. They wake up already behind, starting their day in a way that signals their body to hold on to every ounce of visceral fat. They're boosting metabolism, blocking stress hormones, and making healthy weight loss feel like an impossible, uphill battle. These aren't lazy people or people lacking discipline. In fact, they're often the most committed ones, following healthy meal plans, hitting the gym regularly, and doing everything the experts tell them to do. Yet, the scale doesn't budge. The belly fat remains, and the reflection in the mirror stays frustratingly the same. What makes visceral fat, in particular, so challenging is that it's not just passive storage tissue sitting harmlessly around your midsection. This type of fat is metabolically active. It's like a little factory producing inflammatory chemicals and hormones that interfere with your insulin signaling, increase your cortisol production, and create a biochemical environment that makes it extremely difficult to lose weight. Even when you're doing everything right, your body treats this visceral fat as its emergency fuel, a protective cushion around your vital organs that should only be released when conditions are truly, genuinely safe. As long as your nervous system perceives an ongoing threat, whether that's from physical stress, psychological pressure, or even just environmental chaos, it will actively resist any and all efforts to eliminate that abdominal fat. This is where things get really interesting, and where most weight loss tips completely miss the mark. The signals that determine whether your body feels safe enough to release this fat are unnecessarily the ones you'd expect. You might think that an intense workout would convince your body you're strong and capable, signaling that it's okay to release stored energy. But if that exercise happens at the wrong time, when your stress hormones are already elevated and your resources are depleted, your body interprets it as a confirmation that you are under attack and need to conserve every single calorie. Similarly, you might assume that strict calorie restriction would force your body to dip into its fat stores, but without the right hormonal signals in place. Severe restriction often triggers a metabolic slowdown and actually increases your body's efficiency at storing fat, rather than burning it. The first 60 minutes after you wake up represent the most powerful opportunity you have all day to reset your metabolic programming. During this window, your cortisol levels naturally rise as part of your body's awakening process. This cortisol surge isn't a bad thing on its own. It's designed to help you transition from sleep to alertness, mobilize energy, and prepare for the day. But the height of that surge, how long it lasts, and whether it's accompanied by other stress signals that makes all the difference between a metabolism primed for fitness and fat burning versus one that's locked into defensive storage mode. So let's look at what most people do. They wake up and immediately create a perfect storm of stress signals without even realizing it. They roll over and grab their phone, flooding their brain with stimulation, notifications, and an information overload that triggers dopamine spikes and crashes. They skip hydration, leaving their body in a mildly dehydrated state, which it interprets as resource scarcity. Then they gulp down coffee on an empty stomach, which amplifies that cortisol surge right before it has a chance to naturally decline. They stay indoors, surrounded by artificial light, failing to anchor their circadian rhythm with natural sunlight. And then, they either skip movement entirely or jump straight into an intense workout that just stacks more stress on top of an already overwhelmed system. By the time they finally sit down to their first meal, their metabolism has already been programmed for the day. And unfortunately, it's been programmed for fat storage, not for fat burning. It's also crucial to understand the mind-body connection here. The mental health resources available today rarely connect the dots between psychological stress and physical fat storage, but that connection is direct and incredibly powerful. When your mind perceives chaos, urgency, or a threat, whether it's from an overwhelming email inbox, troubling news, social comparison on your phone, or just your own racing thoughts, your body responds with the exact same hormonal cascade it would use if you were facing a real physical danger. Cortisol rises, adrenaline surges, blood sugar spikes, and your fat cells receive the signal to hold tight to their contents. This is exactly why someone can have a perfect healthy meal plan and a consistent exercise routine but still struggle to lose that stubborn belly fat if their mental and emotional state is one of chronic stress. So, how do we fix this? How do we send our bodies the right signals from the moment we wake up? It starts with 5 simple, powerful shifts to your morning routine. These aren't complicated, and they don't require a ton of time or willpower. They are about working with your body's natural biology, not against it. The first signal is hydration with minerals, before coffee, before anything else. Drink a large glass of water with a pinch of high-quality sea salt or a squeeze of lemon. This tells your body that resources are abundant. It rehydrates your cells after a long night and provides the electrolytes your nervous system needs to function optimally. This simple act alone can lower the stress response. The second signal is delayed caffeine. Wait at least 90 minutes after waking before you have your first cup of coffee. Your cortisol is naturally at its peak in the morning. Drinking coffee immediately only amplifies this, sending a major stress signal. By waiting, you allow your cortisol to start its natural decline, and the caffeine will give you a smoother, more sustained energy boost without the jittery fat-storing side effects. The third signal is morning light. Within the first hour of waking, get outside for at least 10 minutes of natural sunlight, no sunglasses. The light entering your eyes helps to set your master biological clock, the circadian rhythm. This powerfully regulates hundreds of processes, including metabolism and hormone production. It's a clear signal of safety and stability to your nervous system. The fourth signal is gentle movement, not intense exercise. Instead of a grueling workout, opt for a 10 to 15-minute walk, some light stretching, or a few yoga poses. This gentle movement helps to circulate lymphatic fluid, awaken your muscles, and lower cortisol levels. It tells your body that you are safe and able to move freely, which encourages it to tap into fat stores for energy. And the fifth and final signal is a protein-first breakfast. Your first meal of the day sets your metabolic tone for hours. A breakfast rich in protein and healthy fats, with minimal sugar and refined carbs, stabilizes your blood sugar and provides the building blocks your body needs. This prevents the energy crashes and cravings that lead to poor food choices later in the day. It's a signal of nourishment and satiety. These 5 signals, hydration, delayed caffeine, morning light, gentle movement, and a protein-first breakfast, work together to create a powerful hormonal shift. They tell your nervous system that you are safe, nourished, and in a stable environment. This is the green light your body has been waiting for to finally let go of that stubborn visceral fat. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter with your own biology. Start implementing these 5 steps tomorrow morning, and you'll be amazed at how quickly your body responds. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more tips on how to work with your body, not against it. I'll see you in the next one.
The revolutionary understanding that is changing how we approach weight loss is that your body doesn't distinguish between different types of stress. Whether you're running from a predator, sitting in traffic, arguing with a family member, or scrolling through anxiety-inducing social media, the physiological response is remarkably similar. Your adrenal glands release cortisol, your liver dumps glucose into your bloodstream for quick energy. And your fat cells, especially the visceral fats surrounding your organs, receive instructions to not only hold onto their current contents, but actively pull in more fatty acids for storage. This made perfect sense in ancestral environments where stress usually meant genuine physical threat, and stored energy could mean the difference between survival and death. But in our modern world, where stress is chronic, psychological, and rarely resolved through physical action, this same mechanism keeps us trapped in bodies that refuse to release stored fat, no matter how desperately we want to eliminate abdominal fat. What happens during those first waking moments sets a biochemical trajectory that influences everything from your hunger levels and food cravings to your energy stability and metabolic flexibility throughout the entire day. When you wake up dehydrated after 6 to 8 hours without fluid intake, your blood volume is reduced and your electrolyte balance is disrupted. Your kidneys have been working all night. Your lungs have been releasing moisture with every breath, and your cells have been using minerals to maintain countless physiological processes. This mild dehydration, even though you might not consciously feel thirsty, triggers a stress response because your brain interprets low blood volume as a potential survival issue. Cortisol rises to help maintain blood pressure and redirect resources. But this elevation comes with consequences for anyone trying to boost metabolism and achieve sustainable fat burning. The simple act of rehydrating properly within the first few minutes of waking sends a powerful counter-signal to your nervous system. When you drink adequate water, ideally with a small amount of natural minerals or a pinch of high-quality salt, you're communicating to your body that resources are plentiful and there is no emergency requiring defensive metabolic measures. This isn't just about quenching thirst, it's about lowering the baseline stress response that would otherwise elevate cortisol unnecessarily and interfere with your body's willingness to release stored energy. People who implement this single change often report that other aspects of their weight loss journey become noticeably easier, from reduced cravings to improved energy levels to better adherence to their healthy meal plans. Without relying on sheer willpower, light exposure represents another critical signal that most people completely overlook in their pursuit of fitness and fat loss. We think of light as something we need in order to see, but light is actually potent biological information that directly influences your hormonal systems, circadian rhythms, and metabolic function. When natural sunlight enters your eyes in the early morning, it travels along the optic nerve to a region of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which serves as your master circadian clock. This biological timekeeper then sends signals throughout your entire body, coordinating the release of cortisol, melatonin, insulin, and numerous other hormones according to a predictable daily pattern. When this system is properly synchronized, cortisol rises in a controlled way in the morning and then falls appropriately. Insulin sensitivity improves, appetite hormones normalize, and your body becomes metabolically flexible, capable of switching efficiently between burning glucose and burning fat depending on availability and need. Contrast this with what happens when you skip morning light exposure or only encounter artificial light from screens and indoor fixtures. Your circadian system receives conflicting or absent signals, leading to mistimed hormone release, persistent cortisol elevation, reduced insulin sensitivity, and a metabolism that struggles to shift into fat-burning mode. Studies have shown that people who get adequate morning light exposure have better glucose control, lower cortisol throughout the day, and improved body composition compared to those who stay in dim indoor environments, regardless of their diet and exercise habits. This isn't a minor detail, it is a fundamental aspect of how your biology determines whether you lose weight fast or remain stuck despite your best efforts. To follow weight loss tips from various sources, the relationship between caffeine and cortisol reveals another layer of morning metabolic programming that can either support or sabotage your fat loss goals. Coffee has become so deeply embedded in morning rituals that suggesting people delay it often meets with resistance or even panic. But understanding the timing of caffeine consumption can transform it from a metabolic liability into a genuine tool for enhanced fat burning and sustained energy. When you wake up, your body naturally produces a surge of cortisol known as the cortisol awakening response. This is a normal, healthy process designed to help you transition from sleep to wakefulness by mobilizing energy and increasing alertness. In a well-functioning system, this cortisol peak is relatively brief and begins declining within the first 60 to 90 minutes after waking. Caffeine works primarily by blocking adenosine receptors in your brain, which prevents you from feeling tired. But it also stimulates the release of additional cortisol and adrenaline. When you consume coffee immediately upon waking, when cortisol is already naturally elevated, you're essentially stacking stress hormones on top of each other. This combination doesn't give you more true energy, it creates an artificial stress state that your body interprets as danger or emergency. The consequences for anyone trying to lose belly fat are significant because elevated cortisol directly activates enzymes in visceral fat tissue that pull fatty acids into storage and keep them locked away from circulation. Additionally, this cortisol amplification increases insulin resistance, particularly in the liver, which means even if you're fasting or eating minimal carbohydrates, your metabolism behaves as though it needs to defend its energy stores rather than release them for use. By waiting just 60 to 90 minutes before consuming caffeine, you allow your natural cortisol peak to rise and begin falling on its own schedule. When you introduce coffee after this initial window, it no longer amplifies an already elevated stress response. Instead, it provides cognitive benefits and can actually enhance fat oxidation because your hormonal environment is more conducive to energy release rather than energy conservation. The same cup of coffee consumed at a different time creates an entirely different metabolic outcome, which demonstrates how powerfully timing influences whether your daily habits support or undermine your goals to eliminate abdominal fat and achieve the slimming results you're working toward. Movement in the morning carries similar timing considerations that most fitness advice completely misses. There is an assumption that any exercise is good exercise, and that more intense effort always produces better results. But this perspective ignores the hormonal context in which that movement occurs. When you wake up, especially if you're already dealing with chronic stress, poor sleep, or hormonal imbalances, your body is not in an optimal state for high-intensity training. Your core temperature is lower, your joints and connective tissues are stiffer. Your glycogen stores may be depleted, and most importantly, your cortisol levels are already elevated. Adding intense cardiovascular exercise or aggressive strength training on top of this existing. Stress load doesn't convince your body to burn fat, it convinces your body that you're in danger and need to conserve resources.
Gentle, low-intensity movement in the morning creates an entirely different physiological response that actually facilitates fat burning rather than preventing it. When you engage in activities like walking, light stretching, mobility work, or calm yoga practices, you activate your muscles without triggering a significant stress response. This type of movement stimulates glucose transporters in muscle cells, improving insulin sensitivity and allowing your body to more efficiently handle whatever you eat later in the day. It also increases blood flow and lymphatic circulation, which helps clear inflammatory markers and metabolic waste products that accumulate in tissues, including the visceral fat deposits you're trying to reduce. Perhaps most importantly, gentle morning movement activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the branch of your autonomic nervous system responsible for rest, digestion, recovery, and metabolic flexibility. When your parasympathetic system is engaged, your body receives clear signals that you're safe, that resources are available, and that there's no immediate threat requiring defensive measures. This neurological state is absolutely essential for sustainable weight loss because fat release only occurs when your body feels secure enough to let go of stored energy. You cannot force, punish, or discipline your way past this biological requirement. Your nervous system will always prioritize survival over aesthetics, and as long as it perceives ongoing threat, whether from excessive exercise stress, psychological pressure, sleep deprivation, or nutritional scarcity, will tenaciously hold on to visceral fat as emergency fuel. This is why some people discover that reducing their workout intensity and volume actually accelerates fat loss after months or years of aggressive training that kept them stuck at a frustrating plateau. The final piece of the morning metabolic puzzle involves managing dopamine and digital stimulation, which represents perhaps the most overlooked factor in the modern struggle to lose weight healthily. Your brain in the early morning is in a uniquely plastic and impressionable state, highly responsive to whatever inputs you provide first. The neurochemical environment established in those initial waking moments cascades forward, influencing your emotional regulation, impulse control, stress resilience, and even your food choices for the rest of the day. When you immediately reach for your phone upon waking, before your feet touch the floor or your eyes have fully adjusted to consciousness, you're triggering a powerful dopamine response that creates neurological instability with direct metabolic consequences. Dopamine is often misunderstood as a pleasure chemical, but it's actually the neurotransmitter of anticipation, novelty seeking, and reward chasing. When you scroll through emails, messages, social media feeds, or news alerts first thing in the morning, each notification, each new piece of information, each comparison or interaction triggers small dopamine surges. These surges feel briefly stimulating, but they're followed by crashes that leave your brain in a depleted, unstable state, desperately seeking to restabilize through quick rewards, most commonly in the form of sugar-refined carbohydrates or other rapidly absorbed foods that spike blood glucose and insulin. This isn't a character flaw or lack of discipline. It's predictable neurochemistry that undermines even the most carefully planned healthy meal plans and weight loss strategies. The dopamine instability created by early digital engagement also directly amplifies stress signaling. When your brain encounters alerts, urgency, bad news, social comparison, or the pressure of unanswered messages, it activates the same threat detection systems that release cortisol and adrenaline. You might be lying comfortably in bed, physically safe and warm, but your nervous system doesn't distinguish between physical and psychological stresses. The hormonal cascade is identical whether you're reading an upsetting email or running from actual danger, and the metabolic consequences for fat storage versus fat burning are equally significant. This is why people who implement a strict no-phone policy for the first hour after waking often experience dramatic improvements in their ability to lose belly fat even when nothing else in their routine changes. Creating neurochemical stability in the morning allows dopamine to rise naturally and gradually through productive activities, like light exposure, gentle movement, and purposeful action rather than reactive screen time. When dopamine elevation occurs in this controlled, natural way, it creates a much more sustainable baseline that supports impulse control, emotional regulation, and metabolic flexibility throughout the day. Stable dopamine correlates with stable insulin, and stable insulin is absolutely essential for accessing stored fat, especially the visceral deposits that are most resistant to release. The connection between mental health resources, neurological stability, and physical fat loss is far more direct than most people realize, yet it is rarely addressed in conventional weight loss tips that focus exclusively on calories and exercise without considering the hormonal and neurological context in which those behaviors occur. When you align all 5 of these morning signals, proper hydration with minerals, natural light exposure, delayed caffeine consumption, gentle movement, and dopamine control, you create a synergistic effect that transforms your metabolic operating system. Each individual signal is powerful on its own, but together they create a biological environment where fat burning becomes the path of least resistance rather than something you have to force through willpower and deprivation. Your cortisol rises and falls appropriately instead of spiking chaotically, Your insulin sensitivity improves dramatically. Your circadian rhythm synchronizes properly, leading to better sleep that further supports metabolic health. Your appetite hormones normalize, making it easier to adhere to nutritious eating patterns without constant hunger or cravings. And most importantly, your nervous system receives consistent signals of safety, predictability, and resource availability that allow it to release the protective visceral fat it's been guarding. This approach to boost metabolism and facilitate fat burning is fundamentally different from the punishment-based model that dominates fitness culture. You're not trying to exhaust yourself into submission or starve your body into compliance. You're removing the signals that told your body to store and defend fat in the first place. You're working with your biology instead of against it, respecting the deep evolutionary programming that governs metabolic function and recognizing that your body is not your enemy. It's an intelligent system trying to keep you alive based on the information it receives. When you change that information, when you send consistent signals of safety and sufficiency, your body responds by releasing stored energy, improving metabolic flexibility, and allowing you to finally achieve the slimming results that have eluded you despite years of conventional dieting and exercise. The implications of this understanding extend far beyond physical appearance or even health markers. When you start your day in a way that supports rather than undermines your biology, you experience improvements in mental clarity, emotional stability, stress resilience, and overall quality of life that conventional weight loss programs rarely deliver. You're not just losing weight, you're fundamentally upgrading how your body and brain function together. The energy you would have spent fighting hunger, managing cravings, and forcing yourself through punishing workouts becomes available for creativity, productivity, relationships, and activities that genuinely enrich your life. This is what it means to lose weight healthily rather than through unsustainable restriction and excessive stress that might produce temporary results but ultimately damages your metabolic function and psychological well-being. The fastest way to force your body to burn visceral fat every morning isn't actually about force at all. It's about finesse, about understanding the signals your body is listening for and providing them in the right sequence and timing. It's about recognizing that fat loss is downstream from hormonal balance, that hormonal balance is downstream from nervous system regulation, and that nervous system regulation begins the moment you open your eyes each day. The morning routine outlined here: hydration, light, delayed caffeine, gentle movement, and digital restraint represents the most powerful lever you have for metabolic transformation, because it addresses the root causes of stubborn fat storage rather than just treating the symptoms. When you master your mornings, you master your metabolism. And when you master your metabolism, sustainable fat burning becomes not just possible but inevitable. This is the paradigm shift that separates people who struggle endlessly with their weight from those who achieve lasting fitness and eliminate abdominal fat without perpetual suffering, and it's available to anyone willing to prioritize alignment over aggression in their approach to health and body composition. There's a natural solution to speed up your metabolism, control cravings, and support your weight loss journey naturally and effectively. Click the link in the first pinned comment to start transforming your body. If you want to truly transform your body and learn how to lose belly fat healthily, don't stop here. In the next video, I'll share practical strategies and little-known secrets to boost your metabolism and keep the weight off for good. Click now and discover how to take your weight loss to the next level.